Ben here, back out of the garage. Now today, what I'm going to do is I'm working on cutting board. And it's not really a cutting board, it's actually a board to set a fryer on the countertop to protect the counter. So this is just kind of something that Alice the Gma asked me if I'd help her find a piece of wood. And I went through and I found this piece that I had. If you go through my videos, I'm going to post a link at the end of the video. It'll be in one corner or the other to a video where I had a maple log that was about 3 foot diameter. It was too big to get into my sawmill. And I took a chainsaw and spent a good portion of time cutting it down to get it to fit into the sawmill. And it really wasn't a long log. It was only maybe 2 foot or something long, 3 foot long, 3 foot in diameter. So I cut it down to get in the sawmill. And while I was cutting it, I hit a couple of nails. This piece here actually had a nail in it, and it was on the outside edge here, and I trimmed it off so that the nail isn't in the finished product. But if you watch the video, I actually have video of me taking and cutting the log, cutting it down to get it to fit into the sawmill. And then I have another video, I might post both of them here, where I took one video of me cutting the log down the sides to get it into the sawmill, and then I took another one where I was cutting the log in the sawmill and I hit a couple of nails. So this piece of wood has a little bit of history with me. But if you look at the piece of wood, it's got a little bit of spalting on it. You can see it's got a little piece there. If you look close, you can see it's got just a little bit here. It's not a lot, but it does have some figure to it. And I think it's a nice piece of wood. It's got a lot of nice color to it. I think because the log was such a short diameter and it sat and it was wet and it got dry and wet and dry, and as it dried out, a lot of it turned that kind of a different color to it in there. And I think it's a really nice piece. I took and sanded this down. I got it sanded 60, 80, 120, 180, and 220. I went through and just sanded it, got a nice finish on it. And now I'm going to take and put a little bit of cutting board oil on it. Some butcher block oil. I got this from Lowe's. It's food grade oil to just put on here so that if you use this for a cutting board or anything you're going to put some food on there, it's something that's safe and good for the kitchen. Okay, so that's about 2 foot long. It's about 14 inches wide, and it's just shy of 2 inches, about 1 7/8 inches thick after I ran it through the planer a couple times. Now I'm going to take and put this cutting board oil on it, and you'll see this thing just pop to life. And I just thought it would be a nice little video to show you a little bit of me putting some oil on this, and we'll see what happens here. See how it acts. You can see that come to life. I can give this about 2 or 3 coats of this. I just think it's a neat process where you add a little bit of oil to that, and it just really, the difference between it before and after when you put a little bit of cutting board oil on there, and that's all it is to finish this. It's just a little bit of oil. I don't really have the best view here with the angle of the camera, but I think you can see that though. Really makes it pop and shine, don't it? It's kind of funny to me how I almost grow a history with these pieces of wood. You know, it's something when you take and you go through the process of cutting a tree down, and you take the log and you have it for a period of time, and then you cut it and you have the wood drying for even longer out in the yard. You know, this piece has been drying for, I couldn't even really tell you when I cut this. I'd have to look back and figure out when I cut it. I think it was back, it had to be about, I'm gonna roughly say a year ago. It was roughly May of last year. Now this piece of wood is kind of thick, on the thicker side, and usually the rule of thumb is let it dry an inch per year. So this should dry for about 2 years before you use it. But being that it's such a short piece, it's only about 2 foot long, and I had this piece of wood. It really depends on the conditions on where you have the wood drying as well. This piece of wood here, I had stacked out in the yard and had it drying for a couple of months out in the yard. And then I took it into the garage and I had it drying in the garage for a while. And I also had it in my house. And in the wintertime in the house, I have forced hot air heat, and it gets extremely dry in the house. You know, it gets to the point where I have a humidifier on just to keep the air, you know, breathable, where it's not real dry and you're not suffering in the house, you know. So it's extremely dry in my house, and I've had this in my house for a while, and I feel that it's probably down to, it's under 10%, I know that. You know, I don't know what the moisture meter would tell me. I get some funny readings on the moisture meter, but I know that I have confidence that this is nice and dry, and it's not going to split or break. If something would happen where it would split and break, you know, I'd replace it if it got to that point, but I have a lot of confidence that this piece of wood, being the size that it is, and being in the atmosphere that it was been in for the last year, it is extremely dry, you know. So I just thought I would share that with you. You know, it's funny how a little bit of oil makes the wood really pop. You know, it's probably not giving you the best picture in here with the lighting and the fact that I'm sitting out here in the garage. But use a nice clean rag and put some butcher block oil on there, finish it up. I'm going to put this, another coat or two on this yet. I'm going to let this one dry for a little while, put another coat on, let another coat on, and then once I get about 3 coats on it, I'm going to pack this up and ship this out to Alice the Gma. Check her channel out, and I hope you enjoy it, Alice. You know, I had a lot of fun just making this for you. I mean, it's nothing really, it is special in a way, but it's not. You know, I mean, to me, it's something that I have a lot of history with this piece of wood. It's something that, it's funny the way it just gets where you go through and you cut the wood and you store it and you look at it. It's like, what am I going to use that for? You know, a lot of people ask me when I cut the wood, what do you plan on using that for? I really don't know, you know, but it's something that when you have somebody come to you and say, hey, you know, I need a piece of furniture made or a cutting board made or something else, and it's something that, yeah, you know, I got a good piece of wood in mind for that, and this came in handy for that. You know, you asked for something, and it was something that I had readily available, and I think it makes a very nice piece. I know it's just something to put a fryer on top of, and you're not going to be really looking at it all that much, but at the same time, you know, it does look good to me. You know, I'm kind of a wood junkie. I like my wood. You know, I like to cut wood, I like to sand wood, I like to work with wood. Woodworking is just a good hobby, you know. If you're looking for a good hobby, I'd recommend woodworking. It's good for the soul, you know. That's all I've got for today. You know, that's actually a piece of Spalding there in the end, too. I really like the figure in that piece of wood. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Whether it's building another piece of furniture, or whether it's out on the sawmill cutting some more wood. Take care, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.